Good morning, everybody. We will start right away at 11 o'clock. 30 minutes webinar about enterprise sales. My name is Roel Coppens. I've been working with enterprise sales for the last 10 years. At the moment, I work for IVC. At the end of this 30 minutes webinar, we will explain a little bit what we do. What can you expect today? You can expect the first outline of what are the key components of enterprise sales, ranging from what the requirements from your company, your team, processes, and choosing the right customer. We have linked this story to the fisherman story, mainly because there's a lot of similarities between how a fisherman operates and a salesman should do. No? So you will see some content which is linked to this to the fisherman's. Please, if you want to raise your hand during the webinar, that is possible. You can put some questions in the messaging module. At the end, we will also open the mics. For now, they are mute to have a seamless experience. And at the end, we will provide the opportunity to have some questions. So we will put in context the enterprise sales related to the fisherman story. We will talk about the requirements, about big game fishermen, how to select your target, carefully select your target. How do you prepare your approach? So cast your line. How do we start approaching these accounts, these companies, and how to catch them? And then some practical fishing examples from IVC. So basically, to explain a little bit more about why this fisherman story applies so well to the general sales, we prefer to talk about catching tunas and catching whales. Having this said, doesn't mean that we support the whale hunt, of course, but it is interesting to compare the approach, the fishing approach of tunas, other type of more smaller fish compared to a whale. So what is relevant for sales? I mean, when we talk about small and medium account, we talk about less hostile environment, more steady environment when you talk about companies, their needs, their problems. In terms of your offering, your services, normally you can adapt it slightly, but the idea is to work with out-of-the-box offers in terms of services or software, technology, whatever. Also the massive approach, so think of telemarketing, think of visiting companies on a more massive approach. These accounts as well, as we all know, in terms of potential, they are less interesting. So if we have on the other side the big account approach, we see extremely hostile environments, champion league sales, where these companies, the people in those companies, buying decisions, complex buying decisions, a lot of people involved in these decisions. No plan is the same. So no sale is the same in that sense. It's extremely recommended to have a one-to-one approach, obviously. And what we are looking for here is a company that typically has 10 or 20 times more revenue than your average revenue per account. We also look here for highly recurrent business. So what does it require to hunt a whale? Huh? We all think what we see nowadays is that companies intend to go after enterprise sales pretty quick, and what we see is that it's not always so well thought through. No, so here you have think of the classic example where when we talk about large multinationals launching new products, for example in the software industry, where they are launching cloud solutions right away to enterprise accounts without the necessary preparation. Also, again, an example of large multinationals where you have teams that rely a lot on recurrent business, on actual client base, and are practically not prepared to hunt new large accounts. For smaller companies, for the SMB, startups, etc., the opposite happens. Lack of experience in terms of references, experience, product and service offering that is not tailored to these large accounts. In the whole picture here, what is very important is the sales process. And this is being underestimated. The key account sales is normally approached by common sense. So a one-man show, opening, kicking doors, trying to get in without the necessary preparation, to put it black and white. What we also see a lot, and this is not only in Spain or in south of Europe, we see this also across Europe and in the United States, at the contact brokerage, which is very common. So companies typically intend to recruit an experienced salesperson with the necessary contacts in these companies, large companies from the stock exchange, etc., and try to get in like that. No, and that is not really the right way to do it. Also, what we see a lot is still the product catalog focus, where people, despite that they are knocking doors from of large companies, they intend to go immediately presenting their products or services or software, instead of first exploring this account more in terms of needs, processes, and problems that they are facing, or challenges. So then when we continue a little bit more about what does it mean to be part of this big game fisherman, we see here that what it requires in general, before talking about skills and competences, it's mainly the will to change. To change not only the salesperson, because this is a classical one, changing the sales team when there is no success with key account sales. That doesn't mean that you with another salesperson you will change that. Typically it's from the management. The problem comes from the management, where they need to change several parts of the company. It's the sales, of course, the pre-sales, but also marketing efforts, and internally in operations and in delivery. This all should be tailored to these large accounts. Also, what you see is on a management level is that the compensation schemes are normally not the right ones. No, salespeople are being compensated on bookings or revenue, yearly revenue, and in practice you see that this is normally easily done, or relatively easy done by the current customer base, or milking the cow, or doing some upselling and cross-selling in the same account. When we want to hunt large accounts, we should incorporate this new business, or we should have another resource that has a very clear objectives to open this large accounts. No? Also the traditional sales effort, so applying the telemarketing, for example, or the massive emailing, this is not so effective for large accounts. Even it could be counterproductive. Start doing this, and the change management is complex. We always recommend to do this, to start with 1 or 2 salespeople, and with a small set of large enterprise accounts, or even some of them that are a little bit below that. No, to start testing by trial and error the approach, and this could be done also with a semi-large or an upper mid-market account. So again, processes, but now from the client side. So we have to adjust to their processes. No, their buying processes of large accounts are extremely complex. Earlier said, a lot of people involved. They might be in situations where they are consolidating or merging with another company. They might suffer from crisis situations anywhere around the world. So it's important that we focus on that, on their situation and how they are used to buy a product, a service, a software, etc. So from here, no, you could wonder, am I prepared to do enterprise sales? Or maybe you're already doing enterprise sales, or you count on already some of these large companies. That is great. We're always looking for other ones. Or you could wonder, okay, was this an opportunistic sale, or could we really apply systematic key account sales? And what does that require, and how to do that? So here are some examples of competences, skills, and strengths. Maybe we have here. It's maybe not comprehensive, but the important ones are here. When we talk about agility, this is very important. It's a cliche one, but what we see in practice is that companies are not so agile in replying or adapting to the needs of the customer. No? And I have put here an example to how to prove this. Here you see pre-sales, which is typically, or operations even, working very closely with sales. On the other hand, control, so management, in terms of management should be involved. So if we talk about partners, directors, they should be very closely connected to the salespeople that are opening these accounts. Typically, the role play is very important to get in on a board level with a different message, etc. So not being connected as management to enterprise sales would be a mistake. Flexibility, this is in line with agility. When we here see, okay, how are we capable to put in place a custom or tailor-made offer or a solution, in fact. So normally how to prove this is through customer success stories, use cases, etc. Innovation, also a cliche one, very important, more and more important a day, like product life cycles are getting shorter. We should be able to, from operations or R&D, to adapt again to the needs or the solution of your customer. No? And the attention, it's not only about kicking doors, it should be a seamless experience for this prospect account, from news or blog or thought leadership information out there online, up to the fact where the salesman is doing the pitch or sending emails out to these companies. So it's not only the sales, it's very important to have a content strategy from the top of the funnel, from the awareness stage up to engagement and transaction. So defining your target fish, your target account. This is, of course, we are talking about companies that we all know. So we have last name and name, big names, but it doesn't mean that it's so easy to pick one or two or three of them. No, it's very important to see what are the characteristics of my ideal target fish. So apart from sector, size, it is even more important to get more into the business areas, to look at their processes, and depending on the product or service or technology you're selling, I mean, there it's important to see, okay, how does this fit, and what are the business areas that are involved. No? Also, earlier mentioned the financial situation, to get a little bit more comprehensive idea of what is going on in these target accounts. No? We have seen after the crisis situation a lot of consolidation, a lot of companies having problems with their finance, etc. So this, of course, will influence your buying decision. So you should learn, in fact, from your current customers. So you might have some enterprise accounts, or you work with medium-sized companies or small companies. But the idea is to reflect this on the enterprise accounts. And if you don't have these enterprise accounts, and whatever, it's always very interesting to look into the competitors. It's a cliche to say, okay, we start with a market assessment, but you can do this, in fact, very pragmatically. And you see here an example of competitor benchmarking, where we simply compare these players out there. Could be direct or indirect competitors on a different set of drivers, and then very much focused on the proposition that they have, or how they communicate with their market. No, this is important because, as you know, enterprise accounts, there are not so many of them compared to the fishermen out there that are trying to sell in those accounts. So having an understanding of the competition is key. So we strongly recommend this, and even you could choose to apply with an external party to do some mystery shopping and try to get proposals from your competitors. And this is, of course, very powerful also when you think of pricing, etc. From here we get to the account listing. So carefully list them with all the different criteria and information that is available. Also a cliche, we see different examples from companies that work with basic Excels with names and some basic information, from other examples that go really per department, doing an extensive account mapping to get a good understanding of what who the decision or how the decision is being made. When we talk about value proposition, so what are the needs and problems that I'm solving? What are the key features of my product, service, and how this is linked to benefits that they generate for your target customer? I believe we all have some kind of value proposition. What we see here when we target these large accounts, it's very important to adapt that even per account. So you talk about an account-based marketing with also an account-based value proposition. Extremely important. You have ways to do this very quick, knowing the situation from these customers, and link that to your current value proposition, and make it more specific, with jobs to be done, for example, of your people that you are targeting within these accounts. So then your team, the sales team, no? And we have here some examples that are very important. We have earlier spoken about the management. The management should be very much involved. Again, the compensations you see here, the right tools, the right business case should be made. The business case not only on booking. So look into the new sales that you are looking for. Sales cycles are typically very long, so be prepared as management to set KPIs over time. So even more than a year. So what are the KPIs that you can set within the year, not having any sales in those accounts, but being able to measure the progress, no? So that typically is examples of that is what is the contact base over time, so this should grow. What are the interactions in terms of even online, but visiting, participation to events, webinars, etc. Marketing should be involved, and then this is also a classical example that they are normally far away from enterprise sales. They typically work more on a massive approach, online or offline. Here you should apply account-based marketing tactics. So this means that you would see an account as a market and produce specific marketing information, marketing content for these accounts. No? So very important to involve marketing in this with the right KPIs. Inside sales, internally, externally, this doesn't mean that this is not telemarketing. So here we talk about a different profile of people that are capable to have an initial conversation with high-level people, and also can work together with the key account sales rep in terms of role-playing, etc. The pre-sales, normally after the lead detection, the opportunity detection involved in providing product demonstrations or setting up technical requirements, etc. And we also talk about the channel. Depending on your business, you might rely on an integrator, on a distributor, a reseller, etc. So take into account their role and the exact moment that you want their influence. No? Then the profiling effort, normally being done by an inside sales, jointly with marketing. If you have the right tools, also marketing is capable to track behavior of people of these enterprise accounts on your website, on your blog, in webinars like these, etc. But also the salesperson is involved. So the inside sales typically is somewhere, is not so much connected to the salesperson, and they should be a team. And this is extremely important to understand the buying table with the different people involved. The scouts, when we talk about scouts, we talk about these inside sales or marketing people. Language is very important, obviously, and the right timing. By speaking with different people in these organizations, you understand how they buy, and you can respect their timing in terms of fiscal year, in terms of peaks in their business, etc. So once you have a bite, we all know that the ones who have experience with fishing, the idea is not to pull too hard. No, the first bite doesn't mean that you have the guarantee of the enterprise sales. Typically, what you see there is that approaching these companies with a telling approach, so not listening carefully, you might understand that you have a qualified lead, but while you get further, you find out that it is not so qualified, or that there might not be any initiative or any not the right authority, not the right decision-making powers. So what we recommend here is to have a very extensive questionnaire, solution selling, consultative sales questionnaire, jointly with your inside sales, marketing, and the sales rep themselves. Have this tailored to your sales process. So what kind of questions do you ask in what moment? Try to understand, of course, your customer, a cliche one, and try to anticipate the different steps that you have to take. What you see a lot is that while you detect the lead, it's then when companies or salespeople start about thinking the next step, or what kind of materials they need to qualify or to convince the target account more. So here we see the statement about don't ask questions to sell, ask them to understand. Reeling the fish. So how can we be sure that we don't lose it? No, it's a team effort again. It's not only there. You can use the management. Once you have a qualified lead, you can use the management to get in to create a more common understanding of the opportunity. Of course, always keep on extending your contact base to get more allies within these accounts. Use the channel partner at the right moment, and marketing, of course, can work on interesting client cases, references, on paper, by video, or also in person. This is very important. what if we talk then about timing? Sales cycles are long, so it's important to not lose the momentum. And what we see is that not having weekly reviews of your pipeline, and the pipeline being very not so populated with some of these accounts, or try to detect opportunities, more than one opportunity per account, so that you have a more populated pipeline, and review this together with inside sales, with marketing and management, to make sure that that we have the right timing. So don't rush. If we push too much, we could lose the opportunity. Very important is the budget. So what are the timings for the budget? Should it be the sales cycle? Is it longer than projected, etc. And then what is? I mean, we could have another webinar. We most likely should do that about the winning proposal. No, this is, I think, the most seen mistake is once you have this qualified lead, you have the opportunity, you're speaking with at least 20 people within these accounts. There's at a certain stage that you should work on the proposal, and the proposal, apart from, of course, being well presented physically and not sent out by email, of course. This sounds stupid, but we see that a lot. It should have the same solution selling way. So starting with identifying their problems, their needs, how we typically approach these problems, having a proposal, providing a solution, and then a detailed scope and then budget. In the budget, also the budget, try to put this always in context to alternatives. So what are the alternatives? These large enterprise accounts, they have normally loads of alternatives, either to do something internally, or to count on some competition. And by having known or investigated your competition, you can already put out these alternatives. And from there, you start presenting your budget from a completely different angle. Up to here, I mean, we will stick to the winning proposal. There's of course the negotiation phase. There is the client management and the after sales, which is also a very interesting part, where we have seen also quite some different situations and experiences. So for today, also timing wise, we will stick to the proposal stage. We will definitely invite you for another webinar talking about a little bit more about this proposal, how to set up a consultative proposal, and also how to negotiate this and to bring this to a good end. Not to bother you too much about IVC, we will share here some of these customers that we luckily have, and where we are working on a daily basis, doing enterprise sales, mainly in the EMEA, in the Europe zone. So IVC feels very comfortable in helping their customers in getting into the top 500 accounts across Europe. No? Of course, applying all these methods together with our customers, because this is a joint effort. Huh? So what you can expect from us is what we have seen earlier, of course, but transparency and execution. IVC is not a consultant, but it doesn't mean that we try to understand the situations and to investigate, to research different client cases. But we always are involved in the executions ourselves, no? And that is also what makes us unique compared to other consultancy or agencies, etc. So this is the last one, the areas that we cover. Myself, I'm responsible for the business, the first one, the business generation, the business development solution, where we help our customers amongst with key account sales, amongst other services. but we cover the other three important pillars, and we have seen it today in terms of talent, how to manage talent in compensation schemes, which are critical to have successful business execution. Finance, of course, this is obvious, and in terms of tax and compliance, we also help our customers mainly after they have rolled out their operations and they get involved in deals and transactions. So from here, the webinar ends, so there's a possibility to provide some comments.